Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the physics class. In the last class, we studied few concepts of electricity like charge, static, current and current electricity, electric current, ammeter, potential difference and voltmeter. Today, let's learn about Ohm's law. Before we state the law, let's understand it with an example. While explaining the potential difference, we have taken two containers in which we have taken waters, isn't it, children? These two containers are connected by a pipe. Here also, for before we state the Ohm's law, let us understand it by an example. Here I have considered two conditions, condition A and condition B. So in both the conditions, I have taken two containers which are connected by a pipe. Now, what I will do is, as I did in the previous example, here also I'll fill the first container with full of water, and in condition A, I will slightly reduce the amount of water in the second container. Okay. Then, can you tell me what will be the difference created here? The difference is only this much. Now, in the condition B, I will take the first container to be with full of water, and the second container I will take very less amount of water. Okay, only this much. Then what will be the difference created in the second condition? The difference created in the second condition is more, isn't it? So than the first condition. Now, now let us understand this now. When I say the difference created is less in the first condition than the condition B, then what do you think of the amount of water that is flowing from the first container to the second container? What will be the speed of the water when it is moving from first container to second container? Can you guess in which condition, that is whether it is condition A or condition B, in which condition the water flow will be speeded up? In which condition the speed of the water is more while it is moving from first condition to the second condition? Yes, I think most of you are already guessed. It is the condition B, isn't it? Because the difference created is more than the condition A. As the difference created is more, the amount of water that is flowing from beaker first, that is the first container to the second container, it is also more with greater speed, isn't it? Whereas since the difference is lesser, then the speed of water that is moving from the first container to the second container is slow. Therefore, as the difference is more, then the speed of water flowing is also more. If the difference is lesser, then the speed of water flow from the first container to the second container is also lesser. Then, likewise, if I take the potential difference is nothing but it is the potential barrier created so that the current will flow through the conductor, isn't it? Now, if I increase the potential difference, that is the more amount of charges or current will pass through the conductor, isn't it? If the potential difference is lesser, then the less amount of current will flow through the conductor. Okay, then we will represent this relation mathematically as V is directly proportional to I, isn't it? When the potential difference is more, the current will also be more. If the potential difference is less, then the charge or the current flowing is also lesser. Then already in all the classes, we have learned that in order to remove the proportionality sign, we need to insert a constant, isn't it, children? Now, what I will do is, in place of the proportionality sign, I will write equals. When I write equals, I need to insert a constant, say it is capital R. Then what is this capital R is? Capital R is called as a resistance. We have already seen this capital R, that is resistance, even while we are studying about the ammeter, voltmeter, isn't it? So there also we studied about the resistance R. Now let us learn about this resistance R after completing the Ohm's law. Understood? Now let us state the Ohm's law. The statement of the Ohm's law will be like this. The potential difference across 2 points of a metallic conductor is directly proportional to the current passing through the circuit, provided its temperature remains constant. When you take any of the conductor, then the potential difference across its end will be directly proportional to the current passing through it. Here one thing you have to note down, that is the temperature remains constant. So if you consider a metallic wire, then the potential difference created across the two ends, that is 2 points of a metallic conductor, is directly proportional to the current, provided the temperature of the metallic wire should be constant. Already we studied about this mathematical relation, isn't it, children? That is V is directly proportional to I. So that is V is equal to IR, where R is a resistance. If we want to represent Ohm's law mathematically or graphically, the graphical representation of Ohm's law is like this. So we have to take the current, that is I, along the x-axis, and potential difference V along the y-axis. If you want to represent Ohm's law, so graphically, then you are going to get a straight line. So there is no condition that you are going to get a straight line in the similar way what I have written here. It might be slightly above than that straight line or slightly below than this straight line. Remember, the Ohm's law will always give a graphical representation when it is plotted against the that is potential difference across the current will always give a straight line. Understood, children? Now, let us understand what the resistance actually is. As I've said the definition in the earlier class, it is a property of a conductor to resist the flow of charge. So, what is the property of a conductor? Every conductor has the property of resistance to resist the flow of charge. That is, to resist the flow of current to pass through them. Already, we studied a relation, that is the Ohm's law statement. What is it? V is equal to IR. Already we studied about the voltmeter, isn't it? And I'm sorry, potential difference, and already we studied about the electric current. Now it is the time to understand about the resistance. As I have said, resistance is a property of a conductor to resist the flow of charge, and resistance is represented by the capital R. Then if we want to solve this mathematical relation for the resistance, we can write it as R is equal to V by I. What will be V? Potential difference. What will be the I? I will be the current. Then what is the SI unit of potential difference, children? SI unit of potential difference, we already studied, it is volt, isn't it? Then what will be the SI unit of current? SI unit of current is ampere. So therefore, volt by ampere is defined as ohm. Okay. Then SI unit of ohm is represented with the symbol like this. So we will call this symbol to be ohm, children. Okay. Then what is rheostat? It is an electronic device used to control the current by varying the resistance. So by varying the resistance, you are going to control the amount of charges or the current passing through any electronic devices, particularly the conductor. Understood? Then, how do we define ohm? So, what is this actually? 1 ohm is equal to, children? We define 1 ohm as the electrical resistance between 2 points of a conductor when 1 volt of potential difference is applied to these points produces 1 ampere of current. That means, so when you apply 1 volt of potential difference to allow only 1 ampere of current to pass through the ends of a conductor, then it is called as 1 ohm. Understood? Now, let us see some of the factors which influences the resistance of a conductor. That is, resistance of a conductor depends on the following factors. Before moving to the following factors, let us take one example of a conductor. Here, I have written a piece of conductor. Then, this will be the length of the conductor. When I say area of cross section, so if we view the conductor with this direction, we are going to see that is, it is a circular path, isn't it? Already you have studied like a geometrical solids, children. So this is like looking like just like a cylinder, isn't it, children? And on the ends of the cylinder, you will have a circular path. So if we view this metallic conductor from this point of view, you are going to get a circular path. This circular path is nothing but the area of cross section. And then let us see now one by one what will be the factors which influences the resistance of a conductor. Resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. So length of the conductor. So that means what it implies, children? R is directly proportional to L, isn't it? So directly proportional to L, that means if the length of the conductor is more, then the resistance is also more, then the less amount of charges will flow through the conductor. If the length of the conductor is lesser, then what it will imply? Then the resistance is lesser as it is directly proportional. If the resistance is lesser, then more amount of charges or current will pass through the conductor. That means in order to have a good conductor, we should have the length of the conductor to be smaller. Understood? Then what is the second factor? The second factor says that the resistance of a conductor is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. So as I've said, the R is indirectly proportional. What I am writing? I am writing a proportionality sign. I am writing 1 over A. Why I am writing 1 over A? Because it is inversely proportional. What it implies, children? If the area of cross section is more, then the resistance is lesser. If the area of cross section is lesser, then the resistance is more. So, area of cross section, just by looking into the figure, you might have got one idea. It is nothing but the thickness of the conductor. If the conductor is having more area of cross section, so then it is having more thickness, then the resistance will be lesser. If it is more thinner, then the resistance will be greater. Understood? Then the third point is nature of the material. So not only the length and the area of cross section, the third factor is also more important. What is it? Nature of the material. So according to the nature of the material, the resistance of a conductor varies. For example, if I take silver, then silver have less resistance to the flow of current, whereas iron will have more resistance for the flow of current. That means the silver have, I'm sorry children, silver will have the less amount of current to pass through it. That means it will offer more resistance to the flow of current, whereas iron, because since it is a good conductor, it will allow the more amount of charges to pass through them. Now, let us understand the third factor, that is nature of the material once again, children. So, nature of material, as I've said, it differs from material to material. Now, let us write the first two relation, that is the length of the conductor and the area of cross section once again. That is R is directly proportional to L and R is indirectly proportional to, that is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. If we combine these two relations and write it in a single form, then I can write R is proportional to L by A, isn't it? So now what I will do is, if I need to remove the proportionality sign, I need to insert a constant. So here I am writing R is equal to rho L by A. Okay. So this rho is known as the resistivity. This rho is known as resistivity and it is read as rho. Okay. Now what is this actually rho is? Okay. Rho is nothing but the resistivity of a conductor. Now, before going to start with the nature of the material, so the rho value will depend on the nature of the material. Suppose I have taken the example of a silver, isn't it? Silver have more value of rho, that is, it is offering more resistance to the flow of current. Therefore, less amount of current will pass through the silver. Whereas if I take iron, then the rho value will be lesser. The offer, that is, the iron is offering less resistivity for the flow of current. That means more amount of charges will flow through it. Then before we going to understand about the resistivity, let us solve a mathematical relation for the rho, that is resistivity. Okay, then rho is equal to, I will just shift this area of cross section to the LHS, then I can write it as R into A divided by L, where R is a resistance, A is the area of cross section, L is the length. Okay, so now, what is the definition of resistivity, children? It is a fundamental property of a material that resists the flow of electric current. So, even the resistance also we said it is a property of a conductor to resist the flow of current. Resistivity is somewhat similar to that of the resistance. It is a fundamental property of a material. So here in the resistance we did not mention the nature of the material, but here in resistivity it is the nature of the material that resists the flow of electric current. Now we'll come back to the mathematical relation, that is rho is equal to RA divided by L, where R is a resistance. So what is the SI unit of resistance, children? Ohm, isn't it? What will be the SI unit of area? Yes, area, since it is meter square, I'm going to write it as meter square. What will be the SI unit of length? That is meter. So meter in the denominator, so and the numerator will be cancelled. So I'm going to get SI unit of the resistivity, that is rho, as ohm meter. What will be the SI unit of resistivity? Ohm meter. Then we will learn few more points about the resistivity, children. So the first point says it is constant. It is a constant for a given particular material. Suppose if I take the example of silver, silver resistivity is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 8 ohm meter. Whether you change the length of the silver, what you have taken, or the area of cross section, the resistivity of silver is not going to change. When you change the first two parameters, that is length and area of cross section, the nature of the material cannot be changed, isn't it? So resistivity is always constant. It does not vary with length and area of cross section. Then what is the second point? The second point says the range of resistivity of a metal and alloys is 10 to the power of minus 8 to 10 to the power of minus 6 ohm meter. What it implies, children? The metals and alloys will have a less resistivity. Okay, less resistivity. That means they allow more charges to pass through them. When you compare between the metals and alloys, the alloys have much higher resistivity compared to metals. Okay. So then what is the third point? So range of resistivity of non-metals. Non-metals are insulators is 10 to the power of 12 to 10 to the power of 17 ohm meter. What it implies? If you just look into the figure, it is much higher value, isn't it, children? Therefore, the non-metals offer more resistivity to the flow of current. Therefore, less amount of charges will flow through them. Then if you take the example of copper and aluminium, you will see that they will be used in the electrical transmission as they have the low resistivity. So as they offer low resistivity, so these materials are used to form the electrical wires where they will allow more of the current or the charges to pass through them. Then alloys used in the electrical heating, as I've said, alloys will have more resistivity compared to that of metals, isn't it? So alloys are used in electrical heating devices as their resistivity is higher and they do not burn readily. Understood? Now, already we studied about the uh, resistivity, children. Let's quickly recap what we studied today. We first took the example of Ohm's law. We tried to understand what the Ohm's law actually is telling is, and after that we saw the statement of Ohm's law, then mathematical relation of the Ohm's law, and then we studied about the resistance, and then we came for the resistivity and also the factors which influences the resistance of a conductor. Okay, I hope you have understood all the concepts what I have told today. Now it is time to take down the homework. The first question is state Ohm's law and write its mathematical relation. Define the terms involved in it. Second question is define 1 ohm. Then third question, on what factors does the resistance of a conductor depends? Fourth question is, mention the formula to find the resistivity and write its SI unit. Okay, take down children the homework questions. Dear children, write these homework questions in your notebook as well as in A4 sheet. I hope you enjoyed today's class, isn't it? Thank you children. Have a good day.